Good evening and welcome to I Am Piscataway. This is Wednesday, June 6th, and we're on the air live. If you'd like to speak with me or my guests, please call us at any time during this hour-long program at 732-562-2305. My guests this evening include Ward 2 Councilman Jim Bullard, June Sadlowski, the Executive Director of the Metlar Bodine House Museum, Jeff Maschi, President of the Fellowship for the Metlar House. Ward 2 Councilman Jim Bullard is a retiree from a 45-year career in information technology and telecommunications. Jim is a strong advocate for seniors and volunteering many hours at the Senior Citizen Center and serving on the county's Advisory Council for Aging. He's also an assistant state commissioner for Babe Ruth Baseball, and when not in front of the camera, he is a stage manager for PCTV. Welcome back to the show, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor.
June Sadlowski is the Executive Director of the Metlar Bodine House Museum. She has worked in the fields of historic preservation, historic sites, and museum management for over 30 years. June holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from Cooper Union, as well as extended credits in the fields of related to arts, education, land use, and environmental protection. Welcome back to the show, June.
Thanks.
Jeff Maschi, President of the Fellowship for the Metlar House, and has been an enthusiastic volunteer supporter and Board of Trustee member of the Museum for many years. In his professional life, Jeff has worked for Rutgers for nearly a quarter century and is currently the Director of Labor Relations. He is a Cornell University graduate and a Middletown resident. And glad to have you here, Jeff, for your first time on PCTV, I Am Piscataway.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, it's the month of June, and we're closing down the clock. And the highlight of the summer is always 4th of July, and right around there in the festivities. We do have, and I got to reiterate this hashtag that they want me to keep repeating throughout the day. It's hashtag First Fourth. That's going to be the push that we're going to do for the month of June for residents. So if they do anything celebrating during the 4th of July, at that time, take photos and use that hashtag First Fourth. And we're going to explain what the significance of the First Fourth means to the Piscataway residents. And not just Piscataway, but the general viewership of the PCTV audience in Middlesex and Somerset counties and in central New Jersey in general. So, June, why don't you take it away and talk a little bit about what this hashtag First Fourth means?
Well, and I think it's national.
Yeah.
Not only Jersey, not only Piscataway, but this is a national story. In 1778, Washington had just come up with 11,000 troops to rest along the Raritan after the Battle of Monmouth. And on July 3rd, he wrote the very first order for the celebration of the 4th of July. He told the troops, tomorrow, you'll walk across the river on Landing Lane Bridge, line the banks of the Raritan, and shoot your guns off one at a time. Boom, 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 boom,
Even
boom.
though there was a munition shortage.
Right. Even though there was a munition shortage.
Warranted.
Right. And you'll come back, you'll have an extra ration of rum, and that night he had a wonderful party at Ross Hall in Piscataway, his headquarters. And it was at Ross Hall that he wrote this very, very first order to celebrate the 4th of July. So it's the first true celebration of the 4th of July was right here in Piscataway along the Raritan.
First in the country.
The first in the
That's why
country.
it's not specifically a New Jersey story. This is the first 4th of July celebration ever. Ever. And it's not something that you usually hear about. It's not something that's normally taught. So it's something we want to shed a little bit of light on.
So it's true then that it wasn't Macy's that decided to have the
That was second. That was the second one.
Macy's
Balloons
department
came
store.
the following year in
Okay. I just
1779.
want to clarify that. So unlike what Wikipedia says.
Well, the funny thing was the year before, which was really the first time of the 4th of July, they were still debating whether they should have the celebration on the 3rd or 4th or 2nd. And it was here that he taught Americans how to celebrate the 4th of July. He said, no, we're going to have it on the 4th, and he did it, and he had a big celebration, and booms, and fireworks, and the British were leaving Sandy Hook at the time, and they could hear this celebration on Sandy Hook. So here we are. We're Piscataway and New Brunswick. This area is where the first 4th of July really took place. The first organized 4th of July took place.
So which Hashtag first fourth.
First
I got to keep saying it. I got to drill that into the residents here.
And of course, you'll talk about it, but we're going to be doing a whole week of celebrations for the fourth week.
Well, we're going to, the stage director is waving her arms there, Valerie, about we need to go to the first video clip so Jeff can talk and so you two can jump in. So let's go to the videotape.
On July 4th, 1778, the nation's second anniversary, a spectacular Revolutionary War event, long lost to history, happened in central New Jersey. On July 3rd, 1778, 11,000 patriots camped here along the Raritan River in Piscataway. They had just defeated the British at Monmouth, a watershed battle, and now they rested. The battle had shown the skill, bravery, and leadership of General George Washington, who, fresh from this victory, made his headquarters at Ross Hall, the home of a wealthy Piscataway widow on the great road up the Raritan. And it was at this place and time that George Washington ordered what may be considered the first national expression of July 4th as Independence Day.
Tomorrow, the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence will be celebrated by the firing of 13 pieces of cannon and a feu de joie of the whole line. The soldiers are to adorn their hats with green boughs and to make the best appearance possible. A double allowance of rum will be served out.
The next afternoon, from the portico of Ross Hall, Washington and his officers watched the troops parade over Landing Lane Bridge and formed two lines almost 1 mile in length along the Brunswick Riverbank. At 5 p.m., a single cannon fired. They were amazed as one by one, the 11,000 soldiers executed the running fire. The celebration was heard by the retreating British forces miles away at Sandy Hook. The feu de joie, or fire of joy, was followed by a rousing salute by the troops, and Washington and his officers, with glasses raised, toasted to
perpetual and undisturbed independence to the United States of America.
At Ross Hall that evening, Washington's 4th of July ball was attended by Major Generals Marquis de Lafayette, Friedrich von Steuben, William Alexander Lord Sterling, Nathaniel Greene, and Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Hamilton. Understanding the importance of national unity, of making one out of many, on July 4th, 1778, Washington created a national celebration to evoke the signing of the Declaration of Independence. With his 11,000 troops hailed from all 13 colonies, and were all nationalities, creeds, and colors, he wisely crafted a holiday for all Americans to share. So we can honestly say Piscataway was the place the national celebration of 4th of July was born. Ross Hall was the epicenter of that singular moment in time. Ross Hall, built in 1740, was demolished in 1960. Fortunately, the parlor wall from Ross Hall was preserved. A genuine American treasure, this wall has a deep and resonating significance. It was a witness to history and to the generation that founded and defended the United States of America. For many years, this American relic has been lovingly stored by Piscataway Township. It is now the focus of conservation and eventual exhibition at the Metlar Bodine House, Piscataway's historical and cultural museum, located on the Raritan River, near the wall's original setting. The wall's large size prevents its installation within the confines of the museum. A sizable addition will be built to accommodate it. 2016 marks the 350th anniversary of the establishment of Piscataway, a community rich in American history. The Ross Hall Wall is the crown jewel of that history, linking America's revolutionary generation to the present. With your help and your financial support, you can ensure that this American treasure will continue to tell this fascinating story. This present drive will also complete the museum's recovery from a 2003 fire by reestablishing exhibits and create an endowment for the museum's future needs.
hard to believe it's been 15
By the
years.
way, I'd just like to make a comment to our two fearless leaders here. When actually this was being put together, it's amazing how much enthusiasm went on learning the history, because this is it took days and a few months to actually put this together.
Well, if you think about from the 4-minute segment that we just watched, the military intelligentsia of the Continental Army at that time, basically all the top officers, right?
Right. Yes, everyone.
Every
one of his officers were here.
Yeah, the key leadership officers in the Continental Army were all here in Piscataway at once. It's very impressive because, if you read Revolutionary War history about that and all the personalities of the officers that under George Washington's leadership, is that it's just, you like to hark back in time and think if you could just be a fly on the wall and just look and hear and see what was going on and what they were going through and their thought processes. Because let's just face it, if you go by what a lot of the historians said, that wasn't a good time for the Continental Army back then when they were in Piscataway.
Well, that was one of the things. The first 4th of July, Washington was up in North Jersey, and he couldn't do anything. They thought they were going to be hung before the next year. So they were thrilled he was so thrilled he had made it through to the second time. That's also another reason why. And he said, I'm going to teach everyone how to really celebrate this holiday. And he did it. I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, it was right after the Battle of Monmouth, which was
Yeah.
successful.
Right.
So they had something to celebrate in addition to the 4th of July. But clearly, and I'm hardly an historian, he wanted to make his mark with this celebration. 11,000 troops up and down the Raritan and the gathering that evening. He wanted to make a point, and I think he did. And it's a point that something just not a lot of us know about. Frankly, before my involvement with the house, with the museum, I didn't really know a whole lot about it. When June told me that we had this artifact, I'm like, well, okay, explain this to me. And when she said, well, no, you don't understand. This is where the very first 4th of July celebration in the country took place. And I said, that can't be correct. Wouldn't I have learned about this somewhere else before in my life? And
well, they didn't have a hashtag then.
correct.
You're right.
Yeah.
It had all these people attending. It had Alexander Hamilton, future Broadway star, was there. So that was it was very fascinating. So now we have it. We have this. Well, the house. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. What happened to the actual Ross Hall?
Well, Ross Hall was destroyed, of course, in 1960, but Richard McCormick, not the president, but his dad, said a piece of that house has to be saved because he knew about this. It just, and just like we are in Jersey, we're always rather shy about, we're so between New York and Philly that we're always shy. Well, he saved the wall. And when you're in its presence, and we can't wait to get it up, because I've been in its presence with a number of people, and there's something there. There's magic in it. There's, you're in the presence of something, of a relic of American history. Something that wall saw this happen.
Yeah.
And
I know the councilman wants to get a
Yes.
Please.
The other thing that I was going to say is that after a local war down south, they ordered that we are going to have a party tonight.
Yep.
All the lieutenants and everything else, because they wanted to celebrate the fort so badly. They put those orders out there for them.
And here it was, right here.
Right.
In this town, in this 350-year-old town. One of the, and I hope everybody who's listening knows that this is one of the 50 oldest towns in America. This is a significant historical town.
And we're going to hold that thought because they want me to go to another clip
Okay.
that happened this past month. So let's go to the videotape. Okay, thank you everybody for coming down here this afternoon here to Quibbletown Park in Piscataway.
I've introduced two pieces of legislation, one very early on, which limits you access to ammunition, limits your purchasing ammunition online without going to a dealer, actually identifying yourself and picking it up. It also captures how much ammunition a person is purchasing so that it alerts law enforcement whether or not there may be a problem here that they need to look into proactively. Most recently, I introduced a piece of legislation that is the licensing legislation, and it says you got to be 21 years of age to purchase a gun. You got to participate in a gun safety program. You've got to be licensed. You've got to submit to a comprehensive background check, including fingerprints, and you got to be relicensed every 5 years. So we know where these guns are, who owns these guns, and what they're going to be used for. These aren't rocket science. You know, these are just common sense, fundamental pieces of legislation that move in the right direction.
I always talk about as a sort of three common sense initiatives that need to be done. One is universal background checks. The second is that we have a limitation on the rounds of ammunition. And third, that we bring back an assault weapons ban. When I talk about the assault weapons ban, thank you, I remind people that when I was first elected to Congress, we had an assault weapons ban. And it expired when the Republicans took over the majority, I don't know, some 20 years ago or whenever it was, and they've refused to do anything like it ever since, which is just wrong.
Boy, aren't those sensible pieces of legislation? Who could be against the initiatives that the Congresswoman offered? Those don't infringe upon anybody's reasonable right to hunt or to own a weapon. Those are sensible safety things. But the problem, as Congressman Pallone pointed out, is we can't get them done because the president either doesn't care or the president's afraid of the NRA, as we obviously know so many members of Congress are. We've all seen it up close and personal. So what we've decided to do in Piscataway is to lead from the local level. We're not powerless in our communities around the country. We all can step up as individual towns and communities throughout the United States and say we've had enough, and we can do something about it. Within the confines of our constitutional limitations, introduced and passed on first reading. It'll be up for second reading in about a week or two, an ordinance that significantly restricts the sale of guns and ammunition in Piscataway. We've gone as far as we think we can constitutionally go. What we've done is to ban the sale of guns and ammunition within 1,000 feet of a school, of a park, of a daycare center, of a athletic field, of a church. Common sense. We're in a beautiful park. This is one of the nicest parks in Piscataway. Should we allow a gun shop to open up right around the corner or down the street from here? Common sense. This does not infringe upon people's constitutional rights, but it's local people taking a stand. And so that's what we've done here in Piscataway. My colleagues on the town council who are here with me today, I'm all proud of them for supporting this initiative. And I would ask that communities throughout New Jersey and throughout the United States take a look at what can we do on the local level to make our citizens safer. You know, our ordinance isn't going to solve the problems in this country. We need courageous federal leaders like you see here behind me today. We need more of these folks in Congress, and that's what's going to solve the problem. So thank you very much for coming.
I want to thank Congressman Frank Pallone and Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman for stopping by in Piscataway and bring up those important national issues that affect Piscataway Township residents in the greater Middlesex County as a whole. Yes, Councilman.
The point I'd like to make is that from my understanding, New Jersey has the toughest gun control in the country. And it's not as though this is just getting started. We're actually cranking it up even more. And besides, in our township, we have officers supporting the schools on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Mm-hmm. Now, we'll talk a little bit further about the museum. What we do have, other than the festivities that are coming up, and now what type of festivities, even though I'm going to read in some of the announcement, what other festivities do we have coming up?
Well, we have the week of, beginning on June 30th, at the museum, which is, of course, beginning of 4th of July week, so to speak, we'll be having a program when the armies come to your house. And it's about what happened during the Revolution when either the British or the Americans arrived in an
everybody
area.
wanted space.
Right, exactly.
Nobody wanted to stay out in a tent.
Right. So there were, there were issues. And actually, too, I want to, the person who's doing the talk said that she prefers not to have children under 10 come because it's really not a nice story at all. Okay, so that's on Saturday, June 30th, and then on the 1st. We are having, like we did last year,
So wait a minute, that talk is going to be like PG-13?
It could
Yes.
be PG-10 at least.
PG-10.
What time is that?
Okay, you had to ask me
sorry.
that, didn't you? It's 3:30. I think it's 3 to 5.
Okay.
But it will be. I think you might have that information. I don't know why I forgot about it. And then we're also going to on Sunday the 1st. We have our Star Spangled Sing Along. In which many Piscataway students from the schools take place, and they come and they sing. Jeff moderated it last year, and he'll moderate it again this year. And they sing all kinds of patriotic songs, and we give out the words to people, and everyone sings. And at the end, because it's America's birthday, we serve birthday cake to everybody. And it's really a fun time. It's lovely, right, Jeff?
No, we had a great turnout last year.
Yeah.
First time we tried it. What did we have? Between 50 and 100 people last year.
Yes.
And
yeah.
that was with the possibility of some poor weather, and people still came.
Right.
And it wasn't just for the cake, which was wonderful.
They didn't even know they were going to get it.
It was a pretty fine celebration. It really was.
Right.
We're going to try to just ratchet it up a little more this year.
And we have the house open for tours on that Tuesday, which is the 3rd, I think. And on the 4th of July, we are open for tours, and buses will be ferrying people between East Jersey Old Town and Cornelius Low and New Brunswick. So those are on the quarter hour on the 4th of July. Then on Friday the 6th, we also have tours. People can come and visit. Everything's free that week, by the way. There's no cost to go to the museum. And then on Saturday, we have 18th century ice cream making. So, and you probably have the time for that too. But that should be a lot of fun. There's a woman coming in to demonstrate and samples, and it's a really that's a good kids program.
So it bookends very nicely with the armies visiting
Right,
on the
right.
prior Saturday. We go from the PG-10 event to the making of the ice cream, closing it out.
And then, of course, there's lots of other things happening around the area, and the county we've joined up with the county to do really great things along the Raritan and New Brunswick here. There's we're advertising everything. There's a great parade in Lake Nelson that apparently happens, and I did not know that, actually.
It's a small neighborhood.
It's a small neighborhood parade, and it's just getting everybody used to the fact that this is really the first place 4th of July took place. So, it's
Councilman, do you want to?
Yeah, I would say that the sing-along last year was exceptionally well. I mean, I know that you were the fearless leader there again.
We had no idea what to expect when they put it together.
Exactly,
It was June's
but you had the choir from the schools and so forth, and believe me, they had a lot of people out there. Now, I think they have to bring their own chairs this year.
Yes. We will have chairs out. This year we're going to have a tent because we anticipate a lot more people and it's the whole week of having the tent. So it's going to be a little bit different this year. But the children are you were there. They were so cute. They were so adorable.
And we're going to hold that thought because we have another clip from a ribbon cutting in one of our local parks. Let's go to the videotape. Okay, we're down here on this wet Saturday morning to rededication of our late colleague, Councilman Merv Alexander. I had the opportunity to serve when I was a councilman in Ward 2 with Merv Alexander for about 18 months before he passed on. And I think everybody who knew Merv knew that he was a gentle giant. He spoke very softly, but when he did speak, he added credence and oomph to the subject there. And I know several of the people here can speak a little bit more who served a lot longer with Merv than I did, but I'm probably the only current mayor or council member who did serve with Merv.
Councilman Merv Alexander served Piscataway Township with honor and dignity for many years. He brought wisdom and clarity to issues under discussion. And we lost him too soon, and he is sorely missed. I'm sure if he saw this lovely park that's dedicated to him, he'd be extremely proud, as we all are, to have served with him.
Merv, as was mentioned by Camille, was just a super councilman. And by the way, lived very close to this location. He on Rushmore Avenue. And he was an advocate of trying to get a park improvement here. And as a result of his good work, we see this beautiful park that's being rededicated today. But everybody respected Merv's guidance and wisdom, and we were lucky to have him with us.
I take my hat off. I take my hat off to everybody here, but particularly for Merv. I can't believe it was 30 years, my gracious. This was just a overgrown piece of property here. In fact, it was always something that we had trouble keeping clean because people would drop things in it and so forth. So to have a park here was a good thing for the community, but to have Merv was a good thing also for the community. He was truly, as Camille said, a gentle giant. He was one of the biggest persons that I've ever run into, but he had the biggest care and heart and concern for not only the township, but for the people.
I just want to say that I'm happy to be here. I knew the Alexander family and Mr. Alexander himself. And again, as Mr. Ted Light, our previous mayor, stated, he was a gentle giant. He spoke softly, but again, had a kind heart. And I think he would be proud to see this park as it is today. And I hope that the people of Ward 1 come out and truly enjoy it.
1, 2, 3.
Yay! Very good, very good.
I want to once again thank all the hard work that the Department of Public Works, our landscape architect Henry Hinterstein, and as well as the council members did for the rededication of Merv Alexander Park. You know, he was a great guy. We lost him too soon. But I know his family would be very proud of for the rededication. But with that being said, they're asking us to go to another video shot that we did. There's a lot of video for this one. So let's go to the videotape. This is a vision of both the Piscataway Township and Edison Township and collaborating with the Middlesex County Planning Department, Engineering Department to make this 529 corridor a more walkable, livable area of Middlesex County. If you know, over the years, what you're seeing is that more and more people are walking along the 529 corridor, and the improvements that were designed by the County Engineering Department are going to make it a lot safer for people to bike and to walk along a very heavily traveled thoroughfare in Piscataway Township on the county road network system.
The project that we will break ground on in just a few minutes is part of Middlesex County's Capital Improvement Master Plan for 2018, the product of a systematic program to maintain our critical infrastructure. As part of our master planning, we assess our roads, bridges, sports fields, buildings, educational facilities, and parks. We are committed to investing in critical infrastructure to ensure the safety and well-being of our residents, our employers, and those who commute through Middlesex County. Improvements here will be 2 12-foot lanes, 8-foot shoulder in each direction, a 12-foot left turning center lane, 5-foot sidewalk on both sides, and 5 light improvements or upgrades.
This project is a prime example of how much the county and the city of Piscataway is committed to really improving the quality of lives for the residents in this county and around the state. So I'm really excited that this project's starting and looking forward to the ribbon cutting day when it's completed too.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, the 529 corridor, which starts in Edison by Route 1, going out to Greenbrook in Somerset County and part of Union County, the whole thought process is through the planning department to make this corridor a walkable, livable area. It's hard to believe that the county started that project back in 1998.
Wow.
It should be finished now.
Well, you know, they... And no fault of the county, but it was you had two municipalities involved. You had the Department of Labor involved because they own property. You had the U.S. Federal Department of Education own property out there. Yeah. You have all these utility companies that own property out there. And then you had some environmental issues out there. And it's just I just never thought the day that we'd actually get a shovel in the ground. Because there was always another roadblock. But I'm just glad I'm around enough to see it actually going to get completed. Because at that time, Councilman Stewart was on the one who represented that area, the 4th Ward, prodded the county because there was some serious accidents along there. And so finally, it's kind of funny. I'm going to give him a call, take some pictures, and send it up to him. He's living with his daughters now. But it's just, you know, it's kind of good to see that happen. It's going to be a great improvement for the northern end of Piscataway, you know, that section of the Stoughton Road region. So a lot of the commuters will be able to walk from the houses in Piscataway to go to the train station.
Right. Do you have an idea as to when it will be finished?
Well, it's supposed to take about 14 to 16 months. So probably if they have very good weather the next 6 to 8 months, it should be finished probably by the fall of 2019.
Wow. Okay.
So I'll be more than happy to go out there for a ribbon cutting. So with that, they're telling us we got to do the monthly announcements.
All right.
So we're gonna cue that up. It's we've got a friendly dinosaur coming to the Field Station Dinosaurs to Piscataway on Wednesday, the 20th of June at 6 p.m. Dinosaur Tabulor, I think that's how I pronounce it correctly, will come to Kennedy Library for songs and stories, and plus there will be a meet and greet of roaring, walking, and lifelike 15-foot T-Rex. I remember when I put my head in a T-Rex one time. Our mobile shredding program is returning to Crippletown Park on Saturday, the 23rd of June from 9 a.m. to noon. Please bring your confidential and sensitive materials. Please do not bring any other recyclable or trash. The program is free. There's limited 4 bags or box documents weighing no more than 10 pounds each. In other words, don't empty out your house. Piscataway Historical Heritage Society invites everyone to the Cornelius Lau House on Thursday the 28th to see a free exhibition over there in New Jersey in World War I. Please come at 7:30 p.m. No reservations necessary.
I see that myself.
The Township's Independence Day celebration will be on Wednesday evening, July 4th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Piscataway High School field with kiddie rides, food vendors, and DJ music. Our great fireworks show will be slated to start at 9:30 p.m. And remember, #1st4th, writing pictures. And as we're discussing, the Metlar Bodine House, we'll have some great upcoming events. On Saturday, the 30th of June, from 3:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon, is a presentation called When the Armies Came to Your House. Learn what it was like to live in New Jersey and Pennsylvania during the Revolutionary War when troops came looking for supplies. This program is not suitable for children under the ages of 10, and admission is free, but you will need to register in advance on the Metlar Bodine House website. On Sunday, July 1st, is the Star Spangled Sing-Along from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. Students from Piscataway schools will give dramatic readings, recite poetry, and lead the audience in singing patriotic songs. And we will sing Happy Birthday to America as the cake is cut, and the admission is free, and the icing is free too, and the registration is not needed. On Saturday, July 7th, is a great presentation on how ice cream is made in the 18th century. It was made, I should say. It takes place from 2 to 4 in the afternoon, and the admission is free. And the 18th century recipe will be reproduced and samples will be given out. No registration needed. And for music lovers, we have a great lineup for the concert series this year in Columbus Park. Many thanks to the Cultural Arts Commission for putting together a fantastic summer season coming up. The upcoming acts include an Elvis tribute artist, Jim Barrow, from July 5th. Salsa music of David Cedeno on July 12th. Following them is the Guthrie Brothers performing Simon and Garfunkel music on July 19th. And a smooth mix of rhythm and blues pop tunes from Hunter Hayes, the real Hunter Hayes, July 26th. And all these July concerts are on Thursday at 7 p.m. at Columbus Park Extension Gazebo. In the event of rain, we will be moved to the Senior Citizen Center. So just keep that in mind. And those are monthly announcements. So with that, we're going to quickly go to another video clip. It's the Citizens Police Academy graduation. Law enforcement in the 21st century has to be agile because there's different needs coming about in every community in the United States. What doesn't fit in one town may fit in another. So the men and women from the command staff down to the uniformed officers and the civilian personnel in the police department have to learn every day. We need to have a lean, nice police department willing to work with the residents, and this is one of the programs that accomplishes that. They receive feedback from you, the citizens of the town, and hopefully it has been a learning experience for each and every one of you.
It's a very important program. I believe in these programs. The mayor and the council who support us very strongly believe in these programs. It's a partnership between the police department and the community, and it's our community and it's your police department, and we're here to work in partnership with you. We can't make these things work. We can't have a safe community. We can't do our job to protect everyone as best as we can if we don't have the involvement in the interaction with the community. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules again. As I said earlier, also, you get to see us in a little bit different light. You get to see what we do. You get to see that although we wear uniforms to work when most people don't, that we're still people just like everybody else. We're actually, for the most part, normal people, but I'm glad you get to see us sometimes at a little bit different level and learn more about your police department.
So I just wanted to, as a commitment as the mayor, I will assure you, under the leadership of Scott Cartmel and Captain McLaughlin, they will make sure that they learn everything they need to in order to filter it down to the regular uniform officers to meet the needs of the township residents. And so what all I ask you to do is that just stay involved within the community. And please work with our police department because police departments are only going to be as good as they are working with the residents. Once again, I want to thank the Piscataway Police Department and command staff for having these programs that we immerse the police department with the area residents, and they proved very effective, as Councilman Bullard knows. We do have another clip coming up, which was in conjunction with public safety. We also had the first responders picnic. And it was a very wet day. I think that was the same day as the Mervyn Alexander ribbon cutting. But thank God the good news that we were in Riverside Park where there's a large pavilion. I don't know if folks have ever been in the town, have never been down to Riverside Park. You should go take a look. It's a very nice park along the Raritan. And,
yeah,
but
nice.
all representatives from the all 6 fire companies were there and talking up and socializing. And the good news is there was no calls that day.
That's right.
You know, that's a rarity.
How'd you work that?
Well, I don't know. I guess everybody behaved around town. They didn't have the right call. So, but it was. Even though the weather, it was very cold out, right?
Extremely
it's like
cold, yes.
45 degrees.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like, everybody had their heavy sweatshirts on.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a very damp, raw day. But you know what? As long as people come out and enjoy themselves, that's what counts.
And the nice thing about it, when you have all the 6 fire groups together along with the community, that made all the difference in the world because it gave us an understanding of who we are as organizations. And if I may say one comment about the police, one of the things that they have about 24 different things that they do in this township. They teach the youngsters. They teach not the seniors, but the older folks as to what the police actually are doing. And they have many, many things as far as keeping this township in good shape. Yeah. And I think we're in one of the top groups, townships, as far as protection is concerned.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Statistically.
Yes.
So with that, we're going to do another video feed. This was the signing topping off at Rutgers University, where they're building a new health on the Livingston campus there next to the athletic center. This is the R.W. Barnabas slash, with the athletic department. They lucked out with the weather that day. It was raining pretty hard in the morning, and by the afternoon, at noontime, it opened up to some of the members of the basketball team.
I'm just looking
Rutgers
to see
basketball
if
team.
some of my old team helped with it.
Yeah, but,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so
we used to do all of it.
Everybody got a chance to sign the beam. Dr. Barchi and some of the other notables right there. So that's the beam being lifted off, and obviously fast motion. They don't normally go that quick. That'd be an OSHA violation. Obviously, swinging it to the top with the iron workers to put it in place, and then it'll be the top. So that's official. That it's called what they call the topping off party right there. So that's happens quite common now in a large notary.
When will that
I thought they said it was going to be about 16 months. 16. It seems like everything takes 16 to 18 months.
18 months.
Exactly right.
Yeah. County projects, university projects, municipal projects.
You want to get it right.
So. Yeah, just
road projects.
Well, when everything's overlapping. And speak about projects. I'm just looking at the field manager. Do we have time to talk a couple minutes here? The answer is yes. Okay. We're out to bid. I think we accepted the bids in and do some minor improvements at the Metlar Bodine House Museum, and to take care of some of the water issues. It's not like putting up new gutters, that you or I would put up at our homes. It's that, like when you're dealing with an old house.
Very different.
Yeah, very different water system to protect the roof.
Yes.
Lines. So we did get the bids in, and so we're planning on awarding that. So there'll be some. People will see some scaffolding work at some point over the summer with that work that needs to be done. Because the last thing, because we, since the 2005 fire, which is hard to believe, it's been 15 years.
Right.
You still have to protect our investment in the house, and older houses like a museum require a lot of work, just like your everyday home that you live in.
And the good thing is that we're now on a cyclical maintenance kind of schedule, and so. We're also happy about that because we'll catch these things when they're not a big problem.
Yeah.
And it'll keep the house up for another 100 years.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
and I think as Jim knows, Councilman Bullard knows, is that's one of the things is that we're having a 5-year program with all of our government facilities that we have for budgeting purposes. When things need to be replaced, trying to think ahead. Instead of planning by emergency, you plan by actual plans.
Right.
Which is the best way to do it.
Yes,
sure.
You can judge it there.
And if you take a look at our parks, we go through them every 5 years and redo them to make sure that we don't have to have emergencies. And you will see that around the township, or no matter what it is. Every 5 years we look into things like that.
Okay. With that, we have a very short 30-second clip of a high school honors awards that happened down at Piscataway High School seniors. So I had an opportunity to give out the Government Excellence Award to the high school senior Michaela Abraham during the ceremony. So she got her first glimpse of what a photo op is. So,
oh, wow.
So she was the student council president for this year. And I guess when you're a student council president, you're also you're a student rep to the Board of Education. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of neat. All the kids, you got in the auditorium right there at the Performing Arts Center, and it was so quiet. It was like you were going in some medical doctor's office. Normally you think you're going into school. It's noisy. There's just jostling, hustling, bustling. But it was so quick. I thought the students would be a lot happier because a lot of them were getting scholarship checks.
You would think so.
This was serious business.
Yeah, that's what it is. Serious
and
business.
They probably knew you were there. They were impressed.
Absolutely. So
wanted to behave.
Other than that, I know we have about maybe 10 minutes to go. What other initiatives are going on at the museum right now?
other improvements
Yeah, other
and things of that nature. Well, we're actually tomorrow.
Other than DPW coming in to cut down that tree.
Oh my goodness,
For the
yes,
March
yes,
storm.
and cut the lawn too,
Yeah.
because they have to get the tree
Yeah,
out before they can
yeah.
cut the lawn. The
tree looks very dramatic. the
Yeah,
way
it does.
came
A
right
very
down.
large tree that toppled down in the backyard.
Away from the house, yes.
Yeah.
And the garden, actually.
Yeah.
The garden, yeah.
Very lucky.
We have tomorrow. We're going to be finally shifting some pieces in the collection to where they belong, so that as soon as we do get a little bit more money, we're going to begin really establishing some good exhibits. So we do need a couple $100,000 to do really fine exhibits, but. We're shifting things around to get the story told much better, and that's tomorrow. I have some men coming down.
Okay, so everybody's going to put it in place.
The house really does look. It really looks good. I mean, I think anybody that goes in to see some of the exhibits, it's impressive. We're getting there, considering what we went through with the fire.
And we've been doing a lot of work in the archives. Reestablishing, trying to really get a very good list of all the pieces of the collection, and as you know, and Jim knows, and I hope most of the people in Piscataway, that the collection belongs to the people of Piscataway. It does not belong to some group. It belongs to the people of Piscataway once everything's assessed into the collection.
Yeah.
So. People come in and it's their collection, and it's a wonderful,
And
wonderful
that's
thing.
different from most museums.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very different. It's a different approach. It was done so that the collection can never leave the town. So many times, small museums, and we're no longer really considered a small museum because of the collection and the size and what we have. They're run by a not-for-profit group, and if they fail, then the collection gets sold. But in this case, we don't anticipate anything like that happening, and the township has the collection, and will always be able to keep it.
Hermetically sealed.
Getting back to the wall for 1 second, our goal is to just make this a town-wide destination or even a statewide destination, but to make it a nationwide destination. Make people aware of what actually occurred right here in New Jersey, right here in Piscataway in 1778.
Well, that's good. And we're going to go to one more video right here. This is from the Fireman's Memorial program that was held on that Thursday before Memorial Day.
Good evening. The Piscataway Township Firefighters Relief Association would like to welcome everybody to our annual memorial service for the evening.
One of the things that is a rock that helps me from not going batty is when I think about you, our fire companies, our rescue squads, our volunteers, because you're a rock. You're steady. You care about your community.
Firefighting is a role that takes bravery, alertness, patience, and most of all, kindness. The volunteer service of everyone, firefighters, rescue squad members, auxiliary groups, OEM, CERT personnel, is deeply appreciated. We are so very proud of everything that you are to Piscataway Township. Over the years, your courage has strengthened. Your compassion has grown. Your commitment to the community has been resolute. As you have served others, you have found yourselves. You may have joined a fire company as an individual, but you became part of a family. This family was not created through birth, but was forged through obstacle, trial, through danger, and action. As with any family, older generations mentor the newer ones. We cherish the longevity of our family members, and we mourn those who we have lost. Those who lived long lives and those whose lives were cut tragically short. You are trained to be ready for any circumstance, but no one is ever fully ready to accept the loss of another. On this day, let us remember those who've answered a call and did not return. Let us remember those whose lives were certainly enriched by camaraderie and service, but burdened by years of exert. Let us remember those who did not seek the limelight, but rest in peaceful and honored graves. They, as you, are all true heroes. So please let me say again, thank you. Thank you for joining this family. Thank you for serving this community. Thank you for living this life of devotion. My most heartfelt appreciation to all of you on behalf of the Township Governing Body.
I want to thank the Piscataway Township Firefighters Relief Organization for sponsoring that program and also a shout out goes out to Arbor Hose, who is the host fire company this year, for that wonderful tribute to those firemen who passed away, in age. So
yeah, just a comment, and that is with this, we have this every year, rain or shine. Because last year it was raining like heck, so we had to be in the school system. But it's an idea, I'm not sure exactly how long ago it started, but to recognize those who gave their lives for this township and others. And believe me, you have lots of people there every time we have this event.
Yeah. So with that, we have about 2.5 minutes left before we close out the program with the credits for Memorial Day. So, as we were off camera there, Jeff, before you were talking about the state of the wall.
Right.
Why don't you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. Right now, the wall is being housed where, June? It's in
Department of Public Works.
Thank you. In a building
In a
that the Department of Public Works
It's like
has.
the CIA. It's in a non-disclosed area.
We really can't tell you where it is, but it's well taken care of.
It's been dismantled. And our goal is to have it completely restored.
And then wasn't it it has to be shipped to Tennessee?
Yes. Yeah, it has to go down to Tennessee. We have to take it down to Tennessee to our wonderful conservators, who I know you know well, and they already have a barn ready for it, and hopefully when it'll be put together, restored, put together, they'll figure out what color it used to be because we don't know that paint, and then it will be taken apart again, but in a way in which it's not going to hurt it like it is now, and brought back here and installed in a new addition.
And that's where we need to raise some funds. That we anticipate everything between the restoration and the addition to be somewhere around, what, $1 million, June?
Between the wall and the piece, probably about 100. What, 1,500,000.
Yes.
Okay.
So look, it's expensive. It is.
Yeah.
And we need your help. And I think it's worth it for this very unique and important piece of history. It's right here, New Jersey's history.
If you go to our website, there's a way to donate, and there's also pledges that you can make if you can call the museum and make a pledge.
You need to get a hashtag.
We need a hashtag.
Absolutely.
But it's a great thing for this town, especially people who live in this town should be really proud to support it.
I'm going to thank everybody for coming, June. Everybody for June. Jeff coming on the show. We'll look forward to don't forget the concert series coming up in July and all the other events. Keep in touch with the township Facebook page, Twitter account. So let's go to the Memorial Day Parade celebration.
All right.
On behalf of myself and the Township Council, I would like to thank you all for coming here today on Memorial Day to honor and remember the service of many of our and the nation's armed forces. We gather at this Veterans Memorial in solemnity. Later, we will celebrate community and country with a parade and other festivities. However, we spend this day, we consider it a holiday. We should not forget, though, that we stand in comfort today, while others across the globe in American uniform on this same day live in danger. As a garden is tended to, so do many of the causes of liberty by millions of men and women who fought on the battlefield near and far. Like many towns across this great country, Piscataway, too, has sent its sons and daughters off to war. Some left their homes in this township to serve in uniform and never came back. From Holmes Marshall in World War I to Jeffrey Byrne in Vietnam War.
We are here today to honor our heroes, to remember their dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. We stand in the midst of patriots and the family and friends of those who have served nobly. The service members we honor today came from all walks of life, but shared several qualities. They possess courage, pride, selfishness, dedication to duty, and integrity, all qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields, and our troops have fought our battles here and abroad to defend our freedom. Our troops continue to make the ultimate sacrifice, and even though, as we lose troops, more Americans step forward and say, I'm ready to serve. For them and all that have served, we will always remember and honor. God bless you and your families. God bless our military. God bless America.